Hello. Today I'm going to be talking with you about the Trecena of Tz'i. And the Trecena of Tz'i, for me, is very much about faith and loyalty and unconditional love. It's about Tz'i means dog. And it's about the way that we love our dogs love us, and all that kind of thing. And you think about the way that our dogs are with us, that kind of like that forgiving nature that they have. And sometimes they get it wrong, and sometimes we maybe we get it wrong as well. But there's something about them that just loves us so unconditionally, that's always ready to forgive. And so for me, this brings up kind of like this theme, which is, I suppose, interesting with the time of the year, what it is right now for many people, of this feeling of unconditional love, this feeling of family, and this feeling of, kind of like our loyalty to each other. Now, Tz'i can also bring up things like vices, and sometimes kind of like these are things which come to tempt us as well. And of course, Tz'i is also about the law. Now, it's probably not the best time of year to be trying to get any legal work done, but 1 Tz'i would be a great time to initiate those kind of things if they were something which is kind of important to you right now. So I'd also like to kind of like add a couple of things in here. Firstly, just to let you all know that my 2023 calendar is now available. I'll put a link down below this video so that you can find a page where you can get your PDF from. It's available in English and Spanish in PDF form. Here around the lake in Guatemala, it's available as a printed thing as well. And this year I've made it a 14-month calendar, because what I wanted to do was to get it to mesh in with the Mayan solar calendar. And of course, Mayan New Year is in February. And so it needs to encompass January of 2023, but it's going to go through to the end of February of 2024. So I hope that will be of interest to you. And I'd also like to say at this moment, if you kind of enjoying the videos, and if you're interested, then I'll be running a Mayan astrology workshop from the 2nd to the 6th of January. And this will be both it's a mixed medium, so it'll be Zoom and live. And only take 6 people at a time. So if you're interested, maybe that's something that you might like to start the new Gregorian year off with. Again, I'll put a link to the bottom of the page where you can find out more details about it. So let's move on, go forward with the Trecena of Tz'i. So we're going to begin with the day 1 Tz'i. Here, I see this as a renewal of faith. That's kind of like the words that I want to put into that day. Now, I don't know how your Noch Trecena has been. It's interesting when people talk about Noch years and maybe Noch Trecenas. It's supposedly seen as a rather beneficial Nawal, a rather gentle Nawal. But what I've often found, 2020 was a knock year, and this last 14 days has had its fair share of challenges for me, and from what I gather from the messages that I've received, a fair few people around me. It's almost as if kind of like, right, okay, it's time to sort out your problems. That's what Noch does. So we've finished that Noch Trecena today, as I talked to you on this day 13 Toch, and we move into the Tz'i Trecena. The Tz'i Trecena, which renews our faith. So perhaps after a time of challenges, after a time when kind of like things didn't exactly go the way we planned, when we had to use our mind to think around things, now along comes a couple of weeks of Trecena, where we're thinking about, okay, let's get my faith back. In life, in the world, in the community, in the people around you, however it might be. And 1 Tz'i is the beginning of that. 1 Tz'i is the beginning. We can also see kind of like, as we go through life, we're human, and like the dog's Tz'i, it's got these strong senses, and it picks up, kind of like what it likes to taste and what it likes to smell and how it likes to feel. It gets into those temptations, gets into the vices. And, kind of like for me, Tz'i can be this kind of like dualistic day of kind of like, am I going to go with my vices, or am I going to purify from it? And perhaps 1 Tz'i could be this kind of like turning over a fresh leaf. Once again, I know that in this holiday season, then maybe it's not the easiest time to be kind of like working with that. But maybe it's also time to say, you know what, this Christmas I'm going to do things a bit different. This new year I'm going to do things a bit different. And maybe Tz'i is going to guide you through that, to stay loyal to yourself, to stay loyal to your path and who you are now as to who you were before. From one Tz'i, we then move into two bats. Now, this is a rather nice day. Bats, the Nawal of creation, the Nawal of creativity. Bats, the Nawal of the weaver. And here with the number 2. Now, one of the things that I like to see with this is that the number 2 can represent these polarities, these dualities. We could see it as kind of like vertical and horizontal. And bats is weaving them together. So bats is always creating something beautiful. And here it's creating something beautiful from two opposites. So sometimes, we have to weave together the opposite points of view. And sometimes that's going to create the greatest beauty of all. And so two bats gives us the opportunity to make that happen. We can also see that the number 2 can represent relationships, and bats can represent marriages. It can be about getting it together as well. And it can really be about bringing creativity into your relationship and maybe kind of like reinstilling the beauty, or kind of like weaving something beautiful with your partner within your relationship. So, two bats really feels like rather a sweet day for me. From two bats, we then move to 3 So 3 this year is going to fall on the solstice. Or rather, the solstice is going to fall on 3 however we want to put that. And you may be aware, if you're not, then again, I can put a link down below. I'll be making a sunrise solstice ceremony here in my garden in Guatemala. And I'm going to put it out as there's going to be like a Zoom link, so people can tune in and kind of like watch the sunrise while we're making ceremony. Come for 3 hours, come for half an hour, come for however long you would like. Okay, and it's a free event. Just come along, enjoy, and if you'd like to give a donation towards materials, that would be greatly appreciated. But it's not mandatory. It's just a ceremony to make ceremony. Okay, ceremony for the solstice, ceremony to bring back the light, because that's what the solstice that we're looking at here in the northern hemisphere, what we would call winter solstice, is the return of the light. It's the rebirth of the sun. It's the illumination. It takes us out of a period of darkness and back into the periods of light. The days are going to be getting longer from now on in, right? And so, if you come from where I come from, you really notice kind of like how dark and long these nights are, and how by about February things really start changing. So 3 we could see as being kind of like our inner path. And for that to fall on the solstice, for me, I think this is kind of like taking us, shining a light on our inner path. Is always going to take us on our journey. It's a day to petition, to find our path, a day to petition for our path to be cleared. And here it's coming back with the light, and so it's almost like we're asking that new light to come in and clear the way, open the way, shine a light on our path, especially the inner path. And so, as I say, you'd be welcome to join me for ceremony on the solstice, and help to ask for that light to illuminate your inner path. From 3 we're then going into 4 So the Nawal of house and home. The Nawal of harmony. the Nawal of eldership, the Nawal of leadership. And here we see it with the number 4, that number which is down to earth. It's about the material. Now, I like to see Ach, and as my teacher would say, Ach represents the spinal column. And it's what makes us stand up straight. It's what brings us the courage, the bravery to say and do the right thing. In this Trecena of Tz'i, of course, we're kind of like, maybe we're shifting our attitude. Maybe we're kind of like, being faithful to ourselves. Maybe we're kind of like getting rid of our vices, whatever it might be. Well, 4 Ach comes along and it gives us the material courage to stand up straight, stand up for our principles, stand up for our values, to bring harmony where we are. We could also see it very much representing our physical home. Now, it might be all very well if we're making our, ceremonies and doing this kind of thing, but we don't pay attention to the physicality of our home. Is it a nice place? Is it tidy? Is it organized? If we said that your mind is reflected in your home, how is the state of your home? Is it harmonious in its nature? Because 4 Ach might be a good day to be making kind of like material changes in which to bring that harmony fully into your home. From 4 Ach, we're then going into 5 Ish. Ish, the connection with the sacred places, at the altars on Tsanku Hill up there, on Shepherdrell up there rather. And that's where, we go and connect with the spirit of Mother Earth, which is Ish. Ish, who brings us what we ask for. Our connection with the divine, our connection with magic. And here, on the 5 day, the 5 representing work. It's about putting our energy into it. So 5 Ish we could very much see as being a day where we have to put our energy into ceremony. We have to put our energy into what we're doing for Mother Earth, into how we're working with her. Okay? And so it's, of course, a very good day for ceremony, but a very good day to go and put your work into it. Now, for many of you who are in rather cold places right now, it might be not your favourite day to go and be working with Mother Earth and doing something for her. Let's see what you can do to give something back for all that she's given to you. If you have the opportunity to go and work with a sacred site, if you have the opportunity to go and work with ceremony, 5 Ish is a wonderful day. And I always feel like the 5s is kind of like what you put in really grows. And so what you put in is going to be like returned. It's well worth the effort. From 5 Ish, we're then going into 6 Tz'ikin. So Tz'ikin, the Nawal of the birds. Tz'ikin, the Nawal of the vision. And here we see it with the number 6, the number which represents ultimate stability, the number which represents family. And it's calling on heaven and earth, and it's bringing them into this physical plane and stabilizing it right here. So once again, Tz'ikin is the visionary that helps to bring prosperity to our community, helps to bring prosperity to our family. And the 6 can also represent family. Okay, so this is a great day for asking for the vision for your family. This is a great day to stabilize that vision, to bring it in the way that you know will help them to move forward. Maybe it's kind of about, in this Trecena of Tz'i, we're talking about faith and loyalty. Maybe this is about having faith in the vision of your family. So it might bring those kind of things up, but it's also kind of like, for me, Tz'ikin has this kind of like balance that it's trying to achieve between, kind of like staying focused on its vision and not getting too distracted by what's going on around it. And so the 6 would suggest that, kind of like the 6 Tz'ikin really is the vision for the family. This is where you should be working. Well, what is your vision for your family? What's your vision for your prosperity for your family? And how can you put your faith into that? How can you be loyal to that vision? From 6 Tz'ikin, we're then going to 7 Ajmak. Forgive it and let it go. Okay? 7 Ajmak. Ajmak, of course, the Nawal of forgiveness, Nawal of pardon. Ajmak, well, it doesn't always go right, does it? I mean, as I said, that Noch Trecena has been a bit challenging, to say the least. And here we are, it's coming around to 7 Ajmak. This is the final forgiveness. 7 representing finality, Ajmak representing forgiveness. Now, I think that, as I think many of us have passed this idea of forgive and forget. It's a nice sentiment, but if we forget, then we might kind of like fall into the same mistake again. We're supposed to forgive, but learn from it. Forgive, but don't repeat it, kind of thing. Okay? And so forgive and let it go. Yep. You did that. Whatever. We're done. Enough. Let's move on. Or I did that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Time to move on. And so for me, 7 Ajmak, it might bring up, kind of like if we think about the 7 being the top of the pyramid and we're giving us all of these options, showing us all of these things, it might show us many, many options where we might need to forgive. Or there might be kind of like a few things come up and we say, right, okay, yep, I can't be dragging that along anymore. And this kind of like time of like renewal of faith, in this time of loyalty to myself and all that kind of thing, why am I still hanging on to what happened all that time ago? It's time to let go of it. It's time to move on. 7 Ajmak is a great day to be drawing a line under it. Forgive it, even if it's kind of like a unilateral thing, as it were. You don't need to have that conversation. Just say, you know what? I can't hold on to that anymore. I'll let it go. And enjoy that humanness that Ajmak brings as well, because I know that Ajmak always sounds like quite a challenging day, but it's a day of enjoyment. It's a day of kind of like let your responsibilities go a bit if you can, because 7 Ajmak is a wonderful day just to enjoy being a human, just to forgive yourself and others for your humanity and embrace it, because that's what we're supposed to be. From 7 Ajmak, we're then moving into 8 Noach. Okay, so Noach, the renewal of the mind, of thought, of ideas. And here with the 8 representing wholeness, the whole idea. We could be seeing about the whole picture of how to bring things together. Noach is a great problem solver, and it's problem solving using the intellect, using the tools and the knowledge that it has. And so when we see 8 Noach, this is like, right, okay, now I've got the whole solution. I can see kind of like the benefits, I can see the challenges, I can see the whole thing brought together, and now I know how to bring it in. And using my faith and my unconditional love of that Trecena, that's what I'm going to be working on. So 8 Noach is a great day to bring your whole plan into existence, to understand the knowledge from all sides, to coalesce it all together. And so, a great day to be getting your plans into motion. Stop thinking about it and start acting, okay? From 8 Noach, we're then going into 9 Tijax. Now, 9 Tijax, a wonderful day of feminine healing. Also a wonderful day of the feminine warrior. I was kind of like, I know this is crossing over systems and it might not appeal to many of you, but like if we got the 9 representing the divine feminine and Tijax representing the warrior, I kind of like see this Joan of Arc kind of figure, shining brightly with her blade risen above her. The holy warrior. Holy warrioress. Is that a word? I don't know. Sounds good anyway. So this is kind of like a great day to be working with healing. It's a great day to be cutting through to the truth with things. It's a day of the feminine. It is a day of independence. That 9 can be very, very independent in its nature. And so certainly we see this kind of like independent feminine energy that's hashing its way across the battlefield, that's hashing its way in the surgery to cut out whatever needs to be cut out. Now the 9 can also represent life. And so 9 Tijax I see often, as a sculptor or the editor. It's a purifier. And here we see it in this Trecena. You remember I was saying that Trecena can bring up your vices. Well, 9 Tijax can be about your purification of your life. Now, we see where that fits in the Gregorian year and the Christian calendar, halfway between Christmas and New Year, and maybe you overdid it a little bit or whatever. But you see that 9 Tijax comes along to say, right, okay, I've recognized my vices and now it's time to purify myself. Now it's time to cut through to what I really want out of life. Now it's time to heal from whatever I might have been lacking. Because Tijax, I always see kind of like it's the warrior, but Tijax also has this element of bringing things together, of unifying. And so it's kind of like unifying life, because the 9 can represent life as well as the feminine. And so, yes, it might be a good day to be looking at your life, having that bit of a life review and seeing what you want to purify, what you want to cut out of your life, so that you can move into that, kind of like faith that your path brings you, faith in your guidance. From 9 Tijax, we then move into 10 Kawok. So Kawok, the Nawal of the rainstorm, Kawok, the Nawal of the midwife. And here we see another feminine healing essence. 10 Kawok, the healing of community. And it's healing through compassion, because we see Kawok very much as a compassionate female leadership energy. It's the midwife that helps to bring the new into the world. And here, when we see it in connection with community, we see that we don't do it on our own. We've got our friends around us, we've got our family around us, and perhaps in particular, we've got the women that we trust around us, the women that are there to act in compassion, but also to help us to move forwards. I often call Kawok tough love, because, the storm, when it comes along, it's not always gentle. Sometimes it can be quite brutal as to what it needs to wash away. We got Tijax, which is cutting and purifying, and then Kawok, which is washing away the debris so that we can move into our new world. Okay? And so 10 Kawok might be assisting each other, helping each other, lending a hand, helping people up, helping them to move forwards. It can be working together in community to birth something new into community. So that's a great opportunity for a cleansing, healing day, is 10 Kawok. From 10 Kawok, we're then moving into 11 Ajpu. So Ajpu, the Nawal of the sun, the Nawal of divinity, the Nawal of our spiritual path. Ajpu is going to show us the divine. And Ajpu is going to say, kind of like, this is maybe something you want to follow, or you need to follow. In this Trecena of Tz'i, as we're looking for our faith in our guidance and this kind of thing, we have 11 Ajpu as saying, right, okay, now which path is it you're going to follow? Which spiritual path do you want? Because like the 11 could be seen as going in many different places, right? And when we combine that with Ajpu, well, Ajpu is looking for divinity. So 11 Ajpu looking for divinity in all of these different places. But what joins them together is not necessarily a linear path. So this might be a great day for kind of like just allowing your soul to guide you in whichever direction it might guide you, to go and discover and understand different things in different ways that help you along your path. Might be an idea to put things together in ways that you hadn't put them together before, and you can understand their true divinity. From 11 Ajpu, we then move into 12 Imox. So Imox, the dream. Imox, the lakes and the oceans. Imox, our connection with each other through our psychic field. Our empathic nature, and here with the number 12. Well, often I think that Imox days, they're a good day for, dreaming, obviously. They're a good day for meditating on kind of like what you want to bring into the world and how you want to bring it in. What dream do you want to manifest? And here, when we see it with the number 12, well, the number 12 could be seen very much as being bringing your life experiences into one place. And so 12 Imox could be sort of saying this could be a very good day to take some time, preferably near water, near a lake, near a sea, near an ocean, whatever it might be, and bring together your life experience and ask yourself, how am I going to use the experience that I have to bring my dream into the world? What faith have I got in it? In this Trecena of Tz'i, as we're finishing it off, what guidance can I bring in from my previous experience to help to manifest this dream into reality? And then finally, we're going to finish the Trecena and the Gregorian year of 2022 on the day 13 Ik. Ik, the Nawal of the wind, a very powerful day. 13, the Nawal of spirit, also a very powerful day. So 13 Ik, well, we need to be rather careful with our words on this day, okay? In its greatest role, 13 Ik can represent mediumship. It can represent communication from the ancestors, communication from spirit. It can be, kind of like this is a day when you might find that you get all sorts of messages coming through. It might be a day when you might find that you get kind of like communication from the ancestors coming through spontaneously. It'd be a fantastic day to visit a medium. But there might be some extremely strong messages coming through. Now, those messages might be enlightening. Those messages might be rather inspiring. But also on 13 we might need to be careful with our voices, because if we lose our temper, as can sometimes happen on Ik days, then we might find that the words that we speak might damage like the hurricane as well. They might be rather destructive. Now, of course, wind is also seen as a very cleansing time, and, kind of like as we, change this cycle, we could see this wind as clearing out the debris of the old, kind of like, where do we get to from the Trecena of Tz'i, where we're talking about having faith, or the beginning of faith. We end up with the communication from the ancestors. We ended up with the voice of the ancestors. So, there can be a very, very positive sign for this day. But with 13 Ik, I think it's very important that, kind of like, if you feel your, let's say, temperature rising, if you feel your anger rising or something like that, might be a really good idea to count to 13 before you say anything. Because 13 Ik, the damage that those words can do, might be another year before you can kind of like repair them. So I hope that 13 Ik brings you the messages that you seek, and brings you, kind of like what you need to hear from the ancestors to bring you the faith that you need to go forwards into the Trecena of Tz'i, which will be the next Trecena, begin on the 1st of January of 2023. So, on that note, I hope that you've enjoyed all of the Trecena videos this year, and I look forward to seeing you again for that Trecena of Tz'i in the following year. Thank you.